Hello, welcome back to week 5 of Rooted in the Word. If you're just joining us, I'm inviting you to follow along with us. If you've been here, then keep it up. You're doing a great job. Anyways, my first highlight is going to be in Matthew 22. So in this passage, the Pharisees and Sadducees are all gathered together, asking Jesus questions. And one of them asks, Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law? And Jesus replied, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend all the law of the prophets. So this is where I get my sign off every week, is to love God, love people. Just a little reminder of this. So in this one, what I kind of find interesting, not only are we to love God with all our heart, all our soul, but we are also to use all our mind. So that is, we are to think critically. A lot of people think you have to be dumb to be a Christian. You can't, how can you believe those things? You can't even think. But this is telling us we are supposed to think critically, ask the questions, dig deep, find the truth in all that we do. Because in doing so, we reveal God further to ourselves, which lets us reveal it to others. And then on these two commandments depend all the law and the prophets. That's just, if you love God and love people, you will do what's right. Be righteous, basically. You can't do wrong. If you truly keep that in mind with every decision that you make, just ask yourself, is this loving God or is this loving people? That'll keep you on track. Following that, in 23, that is the 7 woes to the scribes and Pharisees. So this is Jesus calling out the hypocrisy of the scribes and the Pharisees. So Jesus says, the scribes and the Pharisees sit on Moses' seat. So do and observe whatever they tell you, but not the works that they do, for they preach but do not practice. Basically, Jesus calling out they are put in the position of authority, and the teachings that they say are true. They will tell you to follow the law, and they will teach you the law, but then they themselves will turn around and do something different. They let greed and pride kind of rule their lives. Thirst for power, and all that. And then Jesus says, but woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. Quite a few times. He calls them out, and he is not nice about it, because following Jesus isn't always about being nice. A lot of people act like the 11th commandment is thou shalt be nice, but that one don't exist. What he's doing here is showing love to the crowd, because calling out hypocrisy and shining light on the truth is the most loving thing he can do. It's the most loving thing any of us can do. If we see something that's wrong, people in positions of power doing things that are wrong, we're to call them out, hold them accountable, and attempt to change the situation if we can. I think Jesus is mostly talking to the crowd here, not to the scribes and Pharisees, because he knows that they're set in their ways and they're not going to change. But he is giving this as a warning to the people to stay true, be righteous. Calls them serpents, a brood of vipers. How are you to escape being sentenced to hell? So he does not mince his words there. And definitely has some harsh words for him. Let's see. All right. So then my next passage there I wanted to highlight was in chapter 25, the parable of the talents. So in this passage, Jesus is saying, heaven will be like a man going on a journey, called his servants, and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his ability. Hello, editor to me here. I just wanted to interject. I know this sounds a lot like the communist slogan, from each according to his ability, to each according to his need, but it is not. If you notice, God is giving to individuals according to their ability, because that's how we grow it. Just wanted to point that out. We are to give to the able, to grow and make much of it so that they can give to the needy. This is a voluntary giving to the needy, as we'll talk about here in just a little bit. Helping others who need help is a calling that we are to do, but it is a voluntary thing, not a government-forced thing. Just want to interject that. Anyways, back to the regularly scheduled program. So the master is going on a journey and is giving slaves, or servants in this translation, other translations call them slaves, giving them responsibility over a certain portion of his property. So what I want to highlight is, if we go back to the math from last week, where we assume, so I guess here, talent is 20 years worth of wages, again, same as last week, and we're going to do the same math of taking the US average and then just dropping it, rounding down to a nice round easy number at $60,000 a year. So that would be roughly the equivalent of the servant that got the 5 talents would be getting $6 million. The servant that got 2 talents would be $2.4 million. And then the servant that got 1 talent got $1.2 million. So these are not insignificant sums of money. All of them got a significant amount of money to take care of. And the master trusted them with a significant portion. 5 talent and the 2 talent servant both immediately went, they went at once and traded with them and made 5 talents more for the one that got 5, and then so also had the one with 2 talents made 2 talents more. So the one that got the 5 talents went and made 5 more talents. The one that got 2 talents went and made 2 more talents. Then it says, after a long time, who knows how long, this is just cut parable anyways, the master came back and the servants gave him what was his, what was due to him. So the first 2 servants came up and they're like, here's the money you gave me, plus I made the same amount back for you. So I made you 5 talents for the one, and I made you 2 talents for the other. And the master says, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. So what I want to highlight on that one is both the servant with the 5 and the servant with the 2 got the same reward. They both received the same praise. So it doesn't matter how much money was made. That's not what Jesus is saying here. It's just that you're faithful with what is given to you and you steward it correctly. And then we jump to the servant with the 1 talent who let fear override everything here. So the servant with the 1 says, "Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here's what is yours." But the master said, "You wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I scattered no seed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest." So, what I find here is the servant, in his mind, thinks that the master is a harsh man who takes what's not his, basically, which is erroneous when applied to God. Everything is God's, and he is not harsh. But that's one thing that the enemy likes to do, is twist your understanding of God. The master also basically says, you should have at least put it in the bank and I would have gotten interest. Meaning that he would have been happy with that. So I think the important thing here is that the servant with the 1 talent just hid the money and didn't do anything with it. They didn't even try. The important thing is that we do our best to steward what God has given us, because everything we have is ultimately his. So we should use it and give it back to him. The important thing here is that we take the gifts that God's given us, all the money and possessions we have, and use it for his glory. So take it, we steward it well, we want to grow it. So this is not, teaching poverty. This is teaching that we should take what we have, go out into the world and make much of it. But in doing so, we need to do it for his glory, because it's not ours. It's not our money. It's his money. So we are to take it and give it back to him. Which gets to, how do we give it back to him? Well, in the next section, it's talking about the final judgment. When the Son of Man comes in his glory, all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. Before him will be gathered all the nations, and he will separate people one from another, as a shepherd separates sheep from the goats. And he will place the sheep on his right and the goats on the left. Then the king will say to those on the right, "Come, you are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me." Then the righteous said, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you a drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?" And the king answered, "Truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these my brothers, you did it to me." So that is how, on this side of heaven at least, that is how we give to God, by being generous and helping others. And that's not always monetarily helping, because it doesn't cost you any money to welcome a stranger or to visit someone who is sick or in prison. That's just being good to people, having a heart of compassion, spending your time and your treasures. So that is what Christians are called to do. Be generous, go out and help others who need help. And I think that is what I wanted to talk about. Got 2-3 passages there that I thought were really great and worth mulling over, basically. Yeah. So next week we're going to do week 6. Of course, obviously, that's dumb. We're going to cut that out of the video. Anyways, that's all I got for this week. You can follow along with us on the reading plan. I would love to hear in the comments what you got out of it. If you're not following along with us, join us. Just pick up where you are. No need to backtrack. Just follow along. But anyways, have a wonderful day. Love God, love people.